When we talk about getting older, people often focus on health, retirement, or how to pass the time. But there's one topic that's just as important, yet often left unspoken: intimacy, especially sexual intimacy. Many older adults still have desires, emotions, and a need for closeness. But society has a habit of pretending that sex is only for the young. That once we reach a certain age, we're expected to stop wanting, stop feeling, stop exploring. That's not only unfair, it's untrue. This video is not about scandal. It's about honesty. It's about acknowledging that being human doesn't stop with age. Our needs for affection, touch, and connection don't disappear. They simply evolve. You might be in your 60s, 70s, or even 80s and wondering, is it still normal to want sex? Is something wrong with me if I don't? What does a healthy sex life look like at this stage? These are not silly questions. They're questions rooted in real experience and real emotion. So today we're going to talk about it, openly, respectfully, and with care, because this stage of life deserves more than silence. It deserves truth, wisdom, and space to breathe. And if you stay with me until the end, you might just walk away with a new perspective on love, aging, and intimacy. One that feels less like the end of something and more like a new beginning. One, love at an old age. A new beginning, not an ending. People often assume that love fades as we get older. That once we retire, watch our children leave home, and settle into quiet routines, the heart too goes silent. But the truth is, love at an old age doesn't end, it transforms. In our younger years, love often comes with fireworks. It's loud, impulsive, full of longing and desire. But as time passes, love becomes something else. Quieter, deeper, more enduring. At this stage in life, we are no longer searching for someone to complete us. We seek someone to understand us, to accompany us through ordinary days, to sit in silence without feeling alone. Love in old age doesn't always look like a romance movie. It looks like helping each other put on shoes. It looks like waiting for your partner's doctor's appointment or reminding each other to take medication. Sometimes it's just about watching the same news program every night, side by side. Some people feel ashamed or afraid to admit they still long for love at this age. They're afraid of judgment, afraid people will laugh or say, "You're too old for that now." But that's not true. The heart doesn't retire. It doesn't count birthdays. It just keeps beating, quietly waiting for someone to notice. So if your heart still whispers at night, still misses a hand to hold, don't ignore it. That longing isn't foolish. It's beautifully human. 2. The powerful health benefits of intimacy. Let's start by talking about something surprising. Sex is actually good for your health. Yes, even or especially in your later years. First, let's look at the physical side. Regular sexual activity has been shown to support heart health. When we're intimate, our heart rate increases, circulation improves, and endorphins are released. Those are the feel-good chemicals that help reduce stress and even pain. It's like giving your body a gentle workout, one that comes with a lot more joy than a treadmill. Sex also promotes better sleep, which many older adults struggle with. That feeling of closeness, the warmth of touch, the release of oxytocin. It helps relax both body and mind, allowing for deeper, more restful sleep. And as we age, sleep becomes more valuable than ever. But beyond the physical benefits, sexual intimacy supports emotional and mental well-being. It reminds us we are still desired, still vibrant, still connected. That can be incredibly important in a time of life when many people experience feelings of isolation or loneliness. Studies show that older adults who remain sexually active often report lower levels of depression and anxiety. Why? Because feeling wanted and loved isn't just nice. It's essential. And here's something truly fascinating. Sex may even support brain health. Research suggests that sexual activity stimulates areas of the brain linked to memory and cognition. In other words, it may help keep the mind sharper as we age. We often talk about exercise and nutrition as keys to healthy aging, and rightly so. But let's not forget that human connection, physical closeness, and intimacy play a big role too. In short, staying intimate isn't just about romance or pleasure. It's about well-being. Your body, your heart, and your mind all benefit. And that's something worth celebrating at any age. 3. Emotional intimacy. The real foundation. When we talk about intimacy, it's easy to think only of the physical side. But the truth is, emotional intimacy is the real heart of connection, especially in later life. You see, as we age, our priorities often shift. We begin to value depth over drama, connection over excitement. It's not about chasing butterflies in the stomach anymore. It's about being seen, understood, and accepted exactly as we are. Emotional intimacy means being able to share your thoughts, your fears, your stories, without fear of judgment. It's those quiet late-night conversations. The look that says, "I know you," without a single word. It's the comfort of being vulnerable with someone, knowing they'll hold your truth gently. This kind of connection doesn't require youth. In fact, it often grows stronger with age, because with time comes experience, and with experience comes wisdom. Older adults often have more patience, more understanding, and a better sense of what truly matters in a relationship. And here's something beautiful. Emotional intimacy fuels physical intimacy. When you feel emotionally safe and connected, touch becomes more meaningful. A hand held, a gentle hug, a soft kiss. These gestures carry layers of history and love that only time can build. In a world that often overlooks the emotional lives of older people, it's important to say this clearly. You still need and deserve emotional connection. Companionship, affection, and love are not reserved for the young. They are lifelong needs. So whether you've been with your partner for decades or you're opening your heart to someone new, don't underestimate the power of emotional intimacy. It's what turns a relationship into a home for the soul. And that, more than anything else, is what helps love last through every season of life. 4. Body changes and self-acceptance. Let's be honest, aging changes our bodies. That's just part of life. Skin sags, joints ache, hormones shift. Things don't quite work the way they used to. And for many of us, these changes can stir up feelings of embarrassment, insecurity, or even shame. But here's the truth no one says loud enough. Your worth, your attractiveness, your ability to love and be loved, none of that disappears with age. We live in a world obsessed with youth. Magazines, TV shows, ads, they often paint a picture of beauty that's narrow and unrealistic. But if you've lived 60, 70, 80 years or more, you've earned every wrinkle, every scar, every soft edge. These marks tell stories. They show that you've lived, loved, struggled, and survived. And when it comes to intimacy, confidence doesn't come from having the perfect body. It comes from being present, open, and emotionally connected. True intimacy is not about impressing someone. It's about sharing yourself, just as you are. Now, that doesn't mean you ignore your health. Taking care of your body, moving it, nourishing it, respecting it, matters at every age. But the goal isn't to fight aging. It's to embrace it with grace and curiosity. Many older adults find that intimacy actually becomes more satisfying with age, not less. Why? Because you're less focused on performance and more focused on connection. You've learned to listen to your body and your partner's body with patience and kindness. So if you've been feeling unsure about intimacy because of how your body has changed, take a deep breath. Look in the mirror and speak gently to the person you see there. You are not less than. You are more than ever, a body full of wisdom and a heart still open to love. 5. The role of communication in senior intimacy. One of the most powerful tools in maintaining intimacy as we age isn't something physical. It's communication. You see, at this stage in life, many of us carry stories. Stories of love lost, of past hurts, of medical conditions, of changing desires. And unless we talk openly, these unspoken things can quietly build walls between us and the people we care about. Many older couples, or those starting new relationships later in life, find that honest conversations are what keep the spark alive. And I don't mean just surface-level chats. I mean the real, vulnerable kind. I'm feeling insecure about my body these days. I'd love more closeness, but I don't know how to bring it up. Sometimes I feel shy because I haven't been intimate in a long time. These are brave words, and they open doors. When you talk to your partner with honesty and tenderness, something magical happens. You feel seen. You create a space where both of you can bring your whole selves. Wrinkles, doubts, laughter, and all. And communication isn't just about problems. It's also about sharing fantasies, expressing affection, saying what makes you feel loved. Little moments, like holding hands during a walk or sending a thoughtful message, can mean just as much as physical closeness. Also, remember, sometimes we avoid these talks because we fear rejection or awkwardness. But in truth, most partners appreciate the courage it takes to speak from the heart. Being open doesn't push people away, it invites them in. So if you haven't had that honest talk with your partner in a while, or ever, consider this your gentle nudge. It's never too late to connect. And sometimes, a simple conversation can rekindle a deep and lasting intimacy. 6. Self-acceptance. The key to loving and being loved in our later years. One of the most important relationships we'll ever have, especially as we grow older, is the relationship we have with ourselves. And when it comes to love and intimacy in our senior years, self-acceptance isn't just helpful, it's essential. You see, our bodies change. Our energy shifts. Maybe we don't look or move the way we used to. And in a world that often celebrates youth and perfection, it's easy to feel like we're somehow less than or no longer desirable. But that's a lie, and it's a dangerous one, because the truth is, love and connection don't expire, and neither does beauty. But it starts with how we see ourselves. When you look in the mirror, can you see not just the lines and sagging skin, but the life behind them? The experiences, the resilience, the humor, the quiet strength? Can you look at your body not with judgment, but with gratitude for carrying you this far? Self-acceptance doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means being kind to yourself. It means allowing yourself to feel desirable, even if your body has changed. It means not apologizing for your age, your shape, or your pace. When we carry shame or self-doubt into a relationship, it creates distance. But when we show up with confidence, even quiet confidence, it gives permission for closeness. It tells your partner, "This is who I am, and I'm worthy of love." And the beautiful part? Confidence is attractive at any age. Not the loud, flashy kind, but the gentle kind that comes from knowing yourself, forgiving yourself, and standing proudly in your story. So today, I invite you to treat yourself as kindly as you would a dear friend, to speak to yourself with love, to embrace who you are not in spite of your age, but because of it. Because you are still whole, you are still worthy, and you are still deeply lovable. 7. Listening and understanding. The true gateway to closeness. When we were young, love and sex seemed to run on nothing but passion and impulse. Yet after a long journey together, we finally learn. Real intimacy begins with truly listening and deeply understanding. By now, you and your partner may have shared decades under the same roof. But listening isn't simply hearing the words. It means listening with your heart, to sense what the other person needs, what they're feeling inside. Sometimes a gentle remark about growing older, or a silent hand squeeze when your spouse is tired, says, "I love you," louder than any flowery speech. If marital closeness is expressed only through actions while empathy is missing, it can start to feel forced. Yet when both partners carefully share emotions, wishes, even small discomforts, every distance shrinks. Practice saying what has long remained unspoken. "I miss you. I'm worried about the way my body is changing. I want to be close, but I'm afraid you might not enjoy it anymore." Those seemingly awkward sentences can retie the knot of intimacy you once had, and perhaps still do, if neither of you lets go. Dear friends, love in later life doesn't need grand gestures. It needs sincerity and a tenderness strong enough to carry you both. Every gentle conversation, every moment of courageous honesty, moves you a step nearer, emotionally and physically. In the end, the real key to feeling close is not flawless bodies or perfect technique. It's the quiet willingness to listen, to understand, and to hold each other, with words as soft as the touch of a caring hand. 8. Don't be afraid to seek help. Medical and emotional support. There's a truth that many older couples quietly live with but rarely speak out loud. We love each other deeply, but something feels different. Whether it's reduced desire, physical discomfort, or emotional distance, these changes are normal. And more importantly, they are not signs of failure. As we age, our bodies shift, our hormones fluctuate, and our health needs change. But these natural transformations don't mean the end of love or intimacy. What often helps most is having the courage to ask for help. Don't hesitate to talk to your doctor. There are medical treatments, therapies, and simple solutions that can ease many of the challenges you may be facing. Vaginal dryness, erectile difficulties, fatigue, or even the effects of medications. These are all treatable with the right support. And beyond the physical, emotional support is just as important. A counselor or therapist who specializes in relationships or aging can be a gentle guide, helping you and your partner reconnect. Sometimes, all it takes is an outside perspective to bring clarity and healing. It's also essential to let go of shame. There's no shame in struggling with intimacy at any age. In fact, acknowledging it shows strength, care, and a commitment to keep the bond alive. Remember, asking for help doesn't mean your love is broken. It means you value it enough to nurture it. In this season of life, every effort to understand, to heal, to grow closer is a quiet act of courage. You're not alone, and it's never too late to feel loved, wanted, and truly seen again. Love that grows with time. Aging is not the end of love. It's the deepening of it. When we're young, love often feels like fireworks. Bright, thrilling, and fleeting. But as the years pass, love transforms into something richer. It becomes a quiet fire that warms us through the cold nights. It becomes a soft hand held during hard times. A shared look that says, "I'm still here." This journey we've explored together isn't just about sex or romance. It's about connection, presence, and tenderness in the most human way. If you're older and wondering whether passion still has a place in your life, let me say this clearly. Yes, it does. Not only does it have a place, it can thrive in its own beautiful, mature way. Talk to your partner. Share your thoughts, your fears, your needs. Be open to learning again, even after decades together. Intimacy at this stage of life isn't about perfection. It's about authenticity. It's about choosing each other again and again, even when our bodies change, even when the world around us moves too fast. To love, to touch, to be touched, these are timeless needs. And if you're brave enough to lean in, to be vulnerable, to grow, then the best chapter of your love story might still be ahead. So go ahead. Love fully, laugh deeply, and never stop believing in the quiet magic of connection. Because real love never retires.